Hello and welcome back to my newest video. This is going to be, of course, for my review of 21 Savage's newest album, American Dream. This is the third full-length solo studio album from 21 Savage. After nearly 4 years since his last collab album with Metro for Savage Mode 2, and it has been 5 years. Let's see, December. Yeah, 5-6 years since his last solo album with I'm Greater Than I Was. He's finally back with his next project. And while he didn't drastically change his style, he has significantly, I think, upped his pen game. And he has gotten quite the ear for some stellar beats, because across this entire thing, we have great production. And I do really like the sort of thorough line of what, obviously, the project is called American Dream, but the actual thorough line going, with it, of 21 Savage's mom risking everything to make sure he has what he needs, and basically him then, in turn, risking everything for himself, even if there were some mishaps along the way, which he gets into later. Similar to his last project, this one starts off with a song talking about all that he's risked to get where he is now. Similarities continue with it, with All of Me also bringing in this old school vocal sample, just like the Grammy winning A Lot. I think it's a really good way to start off the track, or to start off the album, sorry. It's a great way to start off the album. And I don't think it's too similar to A Lot. It just has sort of that same tonal feel that A Lot has, that started off I'm Greater Than I Was. We do get a lot more interesting when we get to the next track, Red Rum, which is, of course, a direct reference to the 1980 horror film The Shining. This has to be one of, if not his most menacing tracks to date. The track really sounds like a supervillain's theme, with the repeating Portuguese sample that's just ringing through the back of the song, and the heavy drums just bashing along with it. I initially thought that this had to be a Metro beat, because it just has that villainous, very theatrical, grand sound to it. But then looking and seeing that it was a London beat, I was massively impressed. I've never heard him tackle a beat like this. Usually his are, he does a lot of trap stuff, but it's a lot more upbeat usually when he works with people. But I gotta give him mad props for this, because this is, I think, one of the best beats on the entire album. And it is a clear standout production-wise. The subject matter, though, it is as to be expected with 21 Savage on a beat like this. It's him flexing and threatening his ops. But it is still really good. And I love the actual chorus, the repeating of the red rum, and then the whispering of it behind him, I think, is great. I was worried, though, when leading up to this album and seeing that Doja Cat was to be featured, because I thought this could be a possible really cheap pop attempt, with like her doing the chorus and him just doing the verses. But I was pleasantly surprised by the sheer chemistry between the two of them, with them bouncing off each other, and, Doja's vocals throughout the entire song. She does a lot of like the ad-libs in the background, and I think that just adds a lot to the track. Even if she just did that, like, she has a pretty decent verse. Her verse isn't anything like super stellar, but even just if it was her, backing vocals, I think that would have just added a lot to the track. But yeah, I think that this song is actually really good. Although I would like to know what the hell NHIE stands for, because I have no idea. I haven't seen anyone talk about what it stands for. I would like to know. Sneaky is another good song, with Savage talking to a woman about how he interacts with her and going behind her man's back to be with him. And despite the narrative, it has this really hard, dark production. Not as dark as Red Rum's, but I like how it creates a whole different feel to the song than what the song's meaning is otherwise, if you're just looking at the lyrics. Nothing too, notable in the song. It's good, but like there's no like one standout thing about it. Not too much to talk about. It's just a good song. My main man, Young Thug, does make an appearance on here too on Pop Your Shit. And with a name like that, of course, we do get a poop bar. We do get one. Thank God. No, but even though we do actually get a poop bar, there is seriously a poop bar on this song. Everyone's clowning him for it. But we have Metro on the production, so I was super excited for this track. And while I don't think that this is Thugger's best feature that he's done, oh my God, my cats. I do still like it, and it even reminds me of his first verse on the song "Say You Love Me" from his and Chris Brown's collab album from 2020, where he's sort of mumbling his words and not really enunciating super well, but it still massively fits the sound and just the feel of that. It's that very sub or like bass heavy song where it's more about just like the feel you get than the actual like lyrical narrative to the song that you get. If this was something he did a lot, I'd be bothered by it, but I think, you know, him just doing it every once in a while for a verse is really good. But I do agree that the sentiment that I see online with this being a weaker Metro beat, though, something about it just doesn't feel all that there to me. Like, it almost doesn't feel super complete. So I don't know. Like, it's good, but it's definitely not fantastic, especially off of what we just got from Heroes and Villains. The first half of the album just keeps getting more and more stacked with track 7, Letter to My Brother, which is a much more emotional cut with him dedicating a track to his brothers and those here, those who are still here and those who he has lost along the way. It's a really sincere track that I think 21 tackles well, and it's a really nice change of pace for him. I do hope we do get to see more tracks like this from him in the future. He did this on 3M in Glenwood at the end of Her Loss, and I really like that. And I enjoy when he does this because he doesn't do this too often. You know, he has a sentimental song here and there, but you know, I think him doing more stuff like this is really interesting, and it shows a whole different side to him. Lil Durk, though, redeemed himself for now on the song Dangerous. This is one of his most hardcore verses since his song with Uzi in 2020, No Auto, where, I mean, he just goes in, he goes absolutely ballistic. I wouldn't say he carried it like he possibly carried No Auto, but he just matches that killer flow and vibe, and I think both 21 and Jerk came together for a surprisingly really good collab. I don't know, nowadays, when you see Dirk, you're not sure if you're going to get him in prime form, or you're just going to get him kind of just giving you, you know, very basic verse or chorus or whatever. But yeah, this was great. Very surprising to see. The only complaint I would have about this is that it is like 4.5 minutes, I think, and I didn't want a beat switch. I'm glad that there wasn't like a ton of beat switches that a lot of projects are doing now, but I feel like when you have a track that's 4.5 minutes long, you need to have some sort of thing in there for like at least halfway or towards the end to kind of switch things up, like maybe change up the drums or something, because I feel like towards the end of the track you do get a little bit bored and it does get a little bit stagnant and you're not as much waiting for it. Like, I feel like the first half, the first 2/3 of it are the most interesting, and then kind of from there it's like, okay, you can kind of just skip to the next track. We do get another classic link up between 21 Savage and Travis Scott on Nina, and Travis takes the first portion of the song with a great flow that builds to be one of his best feature verses in a while. I think what I like most about the song is the fact that the beat wasn't catered to have Travis on it. I think that a lot of people nowadays, because Travis is such a pillar in the rap community and just in the music industry, that you see a lot of people making beats on their albums and they are purposely made for Travis. Like, you can just tell. I know people complain about that with Lithuania off of Big Sean's most recent album from Detroit 2, where people will make a beat that's super like spacious or it's super psychedelic, and it's like, okay, like you can tell like they just wanted Travis Scott to be on this to have a hit or something. But I like that Metro just made a really good beat, and Travis came on it, and he absolutely slid on it, and he did a great performance. And then of course 21 matched his energy, and it makes for one of the biggest highlights on the album. Now we do get to a slower section for the next 4 tracks with See the Real, Prove It, Should Have Wore a Bonnet, and Just Like Me. And while I do agree that these are the weaker songs from the album, I wouldn't say that any of them are particularly bad. Some of them I don't prefer, but I don't think that like they're total skips. I do still get something from each of them. Maybe one of them I will skip. I'll get to that. But I think people saying that these are all skips is pretty crazy, because I think that each of them does have some redeemable quality to it. Starting off with See the Real, I think it's a pretty decent attempt at an R&B cut, with 21 Savage getting slightly melodic but still staying in his vocal register, which I think massively helps him. You know, it's not like you're getting like voice cracking or him just really getting out of his register. I think he does really well and consistent with it, and it makes for a pretty good song. You know, I think it's one that I'll keep in my rotation. It's not horrible. It's not definitely not one of the best on the album, but it's good. My biggest gripe with Prove It was no surprise if, well, I guess I'm not super well known, so it's not no surprise. I do not like Summer Walker. I'm not a fan of hers. I think that there are so many other female R&B singers who can do exactly what she does, but better. And I just think that kind of every time she's featured on an album, it's just a lackluster performance, and that there's just someone who could have been on there that's better. There's just so many other female R&B singers that are just better, and I think that her chorus is a bit stagnant, really doesn't make me feel anything when she comes through. It doesn't even feel like she was in the studio when making it, like she just sent in the verse, and it just has no real, I feel like, ambition to it. I don't really get that much from her music at all, or when I hear her on features. And so, I don't know. That was my biggest gripe with this. It's not a horrible song, but if I were to say that there were any skips, I would say this one. And it is mostly that. But, I mean, yeah, and 21 isn't like doing anything like super crazy on this one either. This, I would say, is definitely probably bottom of the barrel for the album, and just one of his most basic songs he's made. One thing that I might differ on from other people is that I do really like Should Have Wore a Bonnet. I think that Brent Faiyaz fits super shockingly well onto this more trap-inspired R&B song. His style is so different from 21 Savage. Well, I haven't listened to his newest album, so I guess I can't totally say that. But I've listened to his prior work, and it is nothing like this. You know, it's much more calm, and definitely isn't this like heavy. But he did the unexpected on this, at least for me. I think that him and 21 Savage had a great chemistry on here, and I think that the back and forth with both of them giving backing vocals to each other portions of the song made for a fantastic moment on the album, and I think that this will be a standout in his catalog in the future, whether people realize it or not, and it makes me really excited to see more like this from Faiyaz and 21 Savage. So yeah, it is definitely, I would say, I wouldn't say it's in my, maybe it's in my top 5. Yeah, that's not too far-fetched to say. But I was then, unfortunately, unpleasantly surprised by my, not necessarily dislike, per se, like I wouldn't say I disliked the song, but my dislike of Just Like Me. I was super excited to see what Burna Boy would do getting together with 21, because Burna Boy is a super, what's the word? He can just adapt to anyone he works with. He works with rappers and pop stars and R&B singers, and he fits into every category. Like, he is super versatile. That's the word. He's super versatile with what he can do, but I just kind of felt like his feature really fell short, and it just really didn't do anything. This is, again, probably 21 Savage's weakest performance. Again, vocally and lyrically, it's really just nothing new. I was pretty massively disappointed by this song, but like I said, it's not horrible, but it is definitely towards the bottom of the track list. Red Sky jumps back into the excitement though and makes for another one of the greater highlights with, for some reason, a hidden feature from the singer. I'm not sure how you pronounce this. Mickey Echo or Mikey Echo. It's a super dramatic and cinematic song that I think would fit greatly into a movie, which I guess it technically is going to fit into one because there is going to be a film of some sort. I don't know if it's going to be full length or a short film coming out. I believe it's like sometime this summer to go along with this album. But either way, I think that Honorable C Note did a really good job on the production on this, and it creates for one of the most dynamic moments on the entire LP. And the track is also filled with great lines like, I don't see rappers, I really see lunch meat, and speak on the dead, we boxing you in, send you to heaven, they kill you again, we killed his buddy, he bucking again, if they revive him, we bust him again. That line is awesome. I think that's one of his probably coldest lines he's got in his entire catalog, or that bar. But yeah, I think this is a super great song. I see a lot of people saying that this is the best song on the album or it's their favorite song. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but it is definitely a notable highlight. It's very different from anything 21 has done before. And again, I would like to see more stuff like this. It doesn't need to be a whole album full of these sort of cinematic songs, but I would definitely like to see more of these on his at least his solo ones, because we know that we probably aren't going to get anything really like this on the next Savage Mode. But the final track is one that I was probably most excited and interested in seeing how it played out, with 21 inviting Mariah the Scientist on for the outro. It's a harrowing reflection on his life and what it has taken for him to get here, and to encourage other kids to not do what he did and to not follow in his footsteps. He talks about things like friends losing their lives, or getting arrested, or his friends getting arrested, and getting into shootings over just small useless things. He does say, for example, shooting someone over a pair of shoes, and how it's just not worth it. And it's things that him and his friends did when he was younger, and telling the kids now who look at these rappers and they try to do it, and just saying hey, it's not worth it. There are other ways to get money, to get famous, to pursue your dreams. And I think that while he has this catalog that is very dark, he has these albums called Savage Mode. It's very dark and very gruesome, and some of the most brutal rap music we have out right now. But the fact that he's taking it upon himself to turn around to these kids and be like, yes, I do rap about this, and yes, this is kind of my whole aesthetic, and when people have me on a song, this is what they expect, but I can't keep promoting it because we see in the news all the time about kids doing this stuff and losing their lives. It's every day. And so I think that was a great change around for him. And he even touches on topics of suicide, which was really a shock to hear from someone like 21 Savage. Like I said, his very cold demeanor, and he doesn't show his emotion really. And so to get something like that was a great change of pace. And I would just love to see more stuff like that. And I think it's a great thing for the community, especially the rap community in general, which is very based in kind of keeping your emotions in and being very dark and I guess manly or whatever. So it's great to see him, and along with other, it's not like he's the only rapper who's doing this, but someone who's a big pillar like he is right now doing something like that is a great show. And I think that Mariah also carries the chorus in such a great way that makes for an even more impacting ending to American Dream. So that is basically my review of the album. Now let's get into the highest highs section. For best vocal performance, we are going to choose Red Rum. I love the whispering and super cold demeanor he has on this. I think that this is definitely his best vocal performance on this. It is just cold and it is exciting to listen to every time I play this song. Best production is also going to be Red Rum. As I did say earlier, it is probably the most standout production on this. You have the Portuguese vocal sample throughout the entire back, and London on the Track did fantastic on this. Best songwriting is going to go to Dark Days, the final track, as I just basically did my whole excerpt about that. And my favorite bar is going to be from the song Dangerous, and it is, I can't wait to shrug my shoulders when you pop up dead. I heard that bar, my first listen through, and I was like, that's cold. That is cold. That is, I know I talked about, him, kind of flipping the narrative on the whole, gangster rap thing, but, that is what people know 21 Savage for. That is brutal to hear that. You see that someone died, and you're just like, that's it. That's all you can give. I thought that was crazy. That was my favorite bar from the whole project. Best feature performance, though, we do have a couple really good ones. Could go to Mariah or Travis, but I'm going to give it to Lil Durk on Dangerous. I think that his energy was really one of a kind that really only someone like him could bring on that track. Like I said, I was super nervous to see him on here, but I think he absolutely killed it. His super angry tone that he has is a massive standout for the entire project. But yeah, that is going to be my review. I would probably rate this at probably a 75%. There is a bit of lows on here, as I talked about, but there is also some massively high highs. And it is, I think, a very good follow-up to I Am Greater Than I Was. This just makes me a lot more excited to see what's next from 21 Savage, from the narratives change-ups and to the beats changes that he took. And I hope that we don't have to wait nearly as long to get his next project, because, he is just only getting more and more famous, and so there is a much higher demand. So yeah, that's going to be my review. Check out the description for all my social links. Everything that I am on is down there, and you can find me and follow me there. Subscribe to see the next video. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye now.